Hello there, and welcome to this night's math lesson. We are going to be discussing multiple step word problems tonight, and if you're looking at page 153 with me, you already know that we have to work through sometimes. You have to do something before you can actually get to the question in the word problem. So it can be shown in one or more equations. So we're going to kind of try to work through that a little bit today. At Parks Elementary School, I'm looking at number 1, there are 6 fourth grade classes with 17 students in each class. On Friday, 23 fourth graders brought lunch from home, and the rest of the students brought lunch in the cafeteria. How many fourth graders bought lunch in the cafeteria on Friday? So I need a situation equation, but I need to know what I like to underline what I need to know. How many fourth graders brought lunch in the cafeteria? Well, I need to know how many fourth graders there are first, right? If I want to take away that 23 fourth graders right here, I need to know how many fourth graders I'm subtracting 23 from first. So the very first step in this problem is going to be 17 students. There's 6 classes, 6 fourth grade classes with 17 students in each class. So what I hear that I need to do first is 6 times 17, take away 23, because that's how many brought lunch from home, will tell me how many students, fourth graders, bought lunch in the cafeteria. When you're making your situation equation, you always want to put a variable in to what you're trying to figure out. I just very simply pulled out these numbers and kind of worked backwards. I'm going to let you go ahead and solve for S, and we will talk about that tomorrow. So your label should be fourth graders bought lunch. So you need to pause this right now and work out this equation. And remember that parentheses needs to happen first. Okay, so after you get your answer, all that number 2 is showing you is Tommy's way of figuring out the problem and Lucy's way of figuring out the same exact problem. So what Tommy did was he wrote an equation for each step. The first thing he did is find the total number of students who are in 4th grade, which is kind of what we did. If I put a little star here, this is what we did here, right? So 6 times 17 should have equaled 102. Then what Tommy did was he subtracted the 23 who brought lunch from home from the total number of 4th graders, and that answer was 79. Now, Lucy did the same exact problem. I'll pick a red pen. But she kind of attacked it like we did. She wrote an equation for the whole problem. She let n equal the number of students who bought lunch, and we used the letter what? S. So it's very similar to what we did. Students in each 4th grade class was 6 times 17 students in each class. How many students brought lunch from home? 23. And we get the same answer as Tommy did, 79. The only difference between Tommy's method and Lucy's method is that Tommy broke it into 2 equations, and we made one long equation with use of parentheses and order of operations. So now let's look at number 3. And remember, if you needed to hear that problem again or you didn't understand anything I just said, you can always take the little arrow and push it back to the left, and you can hear that all again. So on number 3, we're going to use an equation. You need to write a situation equation anytime you have a word problem. And now you might make 2 equations because we're looking at multiple steps. But let's look at number 3. Susan buys 16 packages of hot dogs for a barbecue. Each package contains 12 hot dogs. Hot dog buns are sold in packages of 8. How many packages of hot dog buns does Susan need to buy so she has 1 bun for each hot dog? Well, first and foremost, what do we need to figure out? Susan bought 16 packages of hot dogs for a barbecue. So how many hot dogs is that? Each package contains 12 hot dogs. Okay? So we need to know this first before we can even figure out how many buns she needs. Then, in order to figure out how many buns she needs, I need to divide this number by 8 because the hot dog buns are sold in packages of 8. And then I can get my, I'm going to put a B for buns, because remember, in my situation equation, I need a letter to represent what I need to find out. And then I would go on from here. I'm going to, again, let you figure that one out and tell me how many hot dog buns, packages of hot dog buns she needs. And we'll discuss this answer in math workshop tomorrow. But I've set up the equation for you. You should be able to do the standard math. Okay, so we have 5 more word problems that we're going to work through here. And I'm going to set them up for you. I'm going to set up 3 of them for you, and I'm just going to read through some of the other ones with you. So number 4, admission to the theme park is $32 for each adult. A group of 5 adults and 1 child pays $182 to enter the theme park. How much is a child's ticket to the theme park? Well, let's do some backing up. We need to find out how many adults there were. Let me reread it. Admission to the theme park is $32 for each adult. Oh, here it is. A group of 5 adults and 1 child pays $182 to enter the theme park. How much is a child's ticket to the theme park? So we know that 32 times 5 plus I'm going to say C for child, an unknown amount equals $182. So if I were to work this out, I would do 32 times 5, 32 times 5, 160 plus C equals 182. So I need to do the inverse operation to find out what C is. So I would subtract 160, and that leaves me with C. And I would subtract 160, and that would leave me with 22. How much is a child's ticket? Would be $22. Okay, let's look at number 5. Kenny collects CDs and DVDs. He has a total of 208 CDs. He also has 8 shelves with 24 DVDs on each shelf. How many more CDs does Kenny have than DVDs? Well, what do I need to figure out first? I know how many CDs he has, so I'm going to take 208. And I need to subtract because it's saying how many more CDs. So that tells me he must have more CDs. So I'm going to put that number first. 208 take away 8 times 24, because that's the 8 shelves with 24 DVDs on them. That'll tell me how many DVDs there are. And this will tell me the difference. And I said D for difference because that's how many, it should be how many more CDs. So go ahead and do that math, and that one's going to be on your form. Carla plants 14 tomato plants. Her gardening book says that each plant should grow 12 tomatoes. She plans to divide the tomatoes equally among herself and 7 friends. How many tomatoes would each person get? So if she does 14 tomato plants, and each one is supposed to produce 12 tomatoes, we have to figure out how many tomatoes she's going to get before we know what she's going to divide. Then we're going to divide them by 8, because that would be herself plus 7. And we would figure out how many tomatoes each person would get. I want to make sure that you're seeing that you really need to make sure you are paying attention to this question. How many tomatoes? How many more? How much is a child's ticket? These are the questions that you need to be paying attention to when you're making your labels. And I'm going to leave that one for your form. So number 5 and number 6 so far should be on your form. Okay, on to number 7. Alex and his family go on a road trip. On the first day, they drive 228 miles. On the second day, they drive 279 miles. Their destination is 1,043 miles away. How many miles do they have left to drive to reach their destination? I'm actually not going to help you on this one. You need to add some numbers together and subtract, and I want to see if you can come up with a situation equation on your own and report that to me on the form. Remember that your total destination is 1,043 miles and that you've already gone some. So they have a third day left. How far do they need to go? So on that one, you need to make sure that you are adding something and then subtracting something to figure out what you have left. And I will be checking for your answer on the form. On number 8, we have a public library has more than 50,000 books. There are 249 science books and 321 technology books. Mary sorts the science and technology books on shelves with 6 books on each shelf. How many shelves will Mary fill with science and technology books? So you need to also come up with an equation on this one. So you're going to need to find out how many books total you have first. Then you need to divide them out, 6 books per shelf, to find out how many shelves total you will need. So I kind of talked you through that. If you need to hear it again, you can hear it again. But 5, 6, I need an answer with a label. And 7 and 8, I need to see the equation and your answer and label. I need to kind of make you a little more independent on these word problems. So if you need to hear it again, it's just a basic, remember, write down the information you have, what you need to know first, make your situation equation with a variable. The variable is what you need to find out, and we will talk more about this in our math rotations tomorrow during math workshops. So don't forget this paper, okay? I look forward to your responses, and I look forward to working with you on this tomorrow.